Scentland, the land of scent. Again. Scentland, the land of scent. Hello. Sorry, don't be afraid. I haven't gone mad. I'm not totally crazy, just a little bit. You know, just a petit peu. Because what you've just seen was my very untalented attempt to do the Kinski spin, the Kinski turn that Klaus Kinski, the late great genius German actor, invented for himself in order to be able to enter a scene in a movie called Aguirre, The Wrath of God, directed by Werner Herzog in 1972. So Kinski, if you watch the movie, he enters with his body and his face facing that direction, but his foot at the same time, his feet are 180 degrees the other direction, and that enabled him to turn his hips almost naturally towards where his feet were pointing, and so he turned into the picture that way. And that was something that was a technique and for an actor that nobody ever had used or known or practiced before. Okay, so the Kinski spin, the Kinski turn. Okay, that's what it's called. And I was born in Germany. I was a kid when I got to know the work of the art of Klaus Kinski, because he was very, very prominent in the 70s in Germany. But already after, he's Polish born actually, Klaus Kinski, but he was immigrating into Germany and becoming fairly quickly fairly famous because he was just a genius and a very special, eccentric, difficult to handle person. And in the 70s, late 60s, 70s, he was just all over the place in Germany. He did some stage work with the topic of Jesus, where he pissed a lot of people up. He got a lot of trouble, and he started to do some high-class movies with Werner Herzog. One of them being Aguirre, but also the first movie that I've seen in 1979 or 80 with Herzog was Nosferatu, the undead, Dracula. Incredibly dark movie, fantastic, unbelievable. But also Wojciech, my favorite movie from the Herzog Kinski duo. But also Fitzcarraldo in '82, tremendous work. And but Kinski in general was very difficult to handle for friends, for enemies, for directors, colleagues, girlfriends, whomever, because he was very all over the place. He became famous for his outbursts, for his lack of patience, for stupid questions by interviewers. So you could ask him a question and he would just blow up because he found that the question is so stupid. Das war die Scheißfrage. Soll ich mit so einer Frage anfangen? Das ist doch Blödsinn. Sie wissen überhaupt nicht, wovon Sie reden. Ja? Reißen Sie sich mal ein bisschen zusammen. Bit of Kinski, okay? There for you, okay? I remember a press conference in 1987 in Cannes, at the Cannes Film Festival. They were asking him some stupid question, and he threw the microphone onto the table and started to shout, "Crétin! Vous êtes crétin!" Unbelievable. And so with my today's appearance, I'm trying to sort of pay homage to the crazy outfit of Klaus Kinski. He would have come with his white or orangey sort of hair and all messed up and being just all over the place, okay? And I'm telling you this because this fragrance needs this background to be told in order to be understood. Kinski, the fragrance dedicated to Klaus Kinski, released 10 years ago in 2011 in order to commemorate the 20th anniversary of Klaus Kinski's death in 1991 in California. By that time, Klaus Kinski was totally done. I think he was just burning the candle on both ends, or even more. Uh, and he did a movie called Paganini, which is, if you watch that, is one of the craziest things that you will ever see. It's just, and Kinski had some other issues as well. Um, many people accused him of being pedophile, of being crazy, of being very aggressive, and there is evidence to that, that he actually just didn't care. He just he couldn't control his anger outbursts. Okay, and but at the same time, he was such a genius that he was not only able to make it over from Poland to Germany to be successful, but then he made it to Hollywood and was successful. He could choose screenplays. He could choose directors. Okay, like he was just incredible. Like you couldn't imagine. Absolutely politically incorrect. These days, Klaus Kinski they wouldn't even talk to him. Okay, he was so all over the place. And so when they came up 20 years ago or 10 years ago with this fragrance, they had a difficult job to do this. And Gesa Schön was given the job to create a fragrance to commemorate Klaus Kinski in a bottle. Okay, Klaus Kinski in a bottle, which probably would have pissed him off or fascinated him, depending on the fragrance, how it smells. And I think actually he would have liked this, because for a long time Klaus Kinski was a smoker, but then he turned against smoking. Suddenly he was pissed off when the air was sticky and was smoky, but 10 years earlier he was just smoking like a chain smoker. So you couldn't really predict how Klaus Kinski would react to his environment. The beer was too warm in an interview, or the air was too dry, or I think that's Kinski or my son. Ah! Geh mal zurück, ich komme gleich, ja? Ich komme gleich. Okay? Okay. Okay. That was little Kinski. So how did Klaus Kinski get bottled? How did Gesa Schön achieve to commemorate him? And I think he's done a genius job here. This fragrance is all about green weirdness and woody strangeness. It has a cannabis note that on my skin, sometimes I'm not comfortable wearing this, because I think I get stopped by the police in my car, driving my car, and they think I've smoked dope. Okay, because it's so much cannabis. It's just pure cannabis. There's vetiver in there. There's some woody notes in there. There's some strange feeling of the seaside in there, which I think all captures Klaus Kinski very well. The weirdness of him. You know, he went out, they did two movies with Werner Herzog in the jungle, and Werner Herzog said that Klaus Kinski loved to go out into the jungle, you know, with a photographer, and making sure that he's, you know, laying on a tree and being in the middle of the jungle with the, you know, photographer, the guy who's taking the pictures, making sure that he's making the best pictures. But at the same time, Kinski didn't like, you know, to be, you know, around mosquitoes and, you know, probably stepping into some dirt or getting his clothes dirty, or he felt uncomfortable. But at the same time, he wanted to present himself like somebody, the son of the jungle, you know. And that's the weirdness that's very much captured in here, I tell you. And the smoking aspect of his personality as well. And when I smell this, that there's an absolute immediate connection to the personality of Kinski somehow. Because this fragrance is disturbing in a way. It is somehow weird. It's like if it's not a fragrance, but something, an aura, rather, a bottled aura. And again, this is great because the aim was to bottle Kinski, right? To somehow, it's just called Kinski. There's nothing else. It's Kinski, okay? pure and utter Kinski. And there's some vetiver in there, and the cannabis, and the woody notes, and this type of very underlaying kind of C note that is always, it represents a free spirit that at the same time is crazy and eccentric and doesn't give a fuck. Because he didn't give a fuck. It's true. And I'm revisiting this fragrance. I did my very first review I've ever done was this fragrance back in August 2014. And I had to revisit this because this is so good. And it's such a signature fragrance if you can wear it. I think at this stage it's discontinued, but still available here and there. And I tell you, I have Klaus Kinski as a son. Okay, so I gotta wrap it up here. Because I have Kinski as a son, you know, he has the same hair, and I hope he will have the same bank account, baby. No, I'm just joking. Why not? So it's all about cannabis and vetiver and a bit of oceanic kind of feeling. Geht so schön, an absolute genius. An absolute genius. And I was today with my attire, sorry for that, you know, I was trying to be a bit crazy, but I cannot be as crazy, nowhere near as crazy as Klaus Kinski or this fragrance. So, but I'm thinking of getting a backup bottle because it's just so fucking good, you know. So, was ist das? Was ist das? Kinski, was soll das Scheiß? Was soll das Scheiß? Ist das gut? Tja, das riecht mir gar nicht so schlecht, oder? Wer hat so eine Idee gehabt, mich in eine Flasche zu packen? Das gibt's doch gar nicht, das ist doch ein Witz. Das ist doch ein Witz. So blöd kann keiner sein, dass man denkt, dass man Kinski in eine Flasche reintun kann. Sowas gibt es doch nicht. Stimmt, sowas kann es doch nicht geben. Wie kann man so bescheuert sein, dass man sowas macht?